I thought this Micra would be the next high profit, low risk flip, but that couldn't have been anything further from the truth, as I'm pretty sure I've just bought someone's scrap. Now let's get straight to it.
So there I was working on my previous project when this comes up. I click on the link and it matches the perfect criteria for a flip.
It was cheap, it was a sellable hatchback, and it had MOT. So a couple of days later, I made the journey to go and view the car. And when I got there, I was actually quite disappointed in the state of the car. What it didn't show in the advert was the dents, dings and scratches that it had, flaking paintwork, and of course the complimentary rusted arches. You know, it had scratch marks.
It's mechanically sound.
As well, the boot was hanging on by tape. And to top it all off, the car had definitely been broken into before, and recently as well. There was glass all over the rear seating area, as well as loads of rubbish and a starter motor for some reason. But it did start and run quite well. If I put a fresh 12 months MOT on it, cleaned it all up, it would be an easy sale. But was it worth it? It was a big risk. So I took a gamble, offered the guy 200 quid, and he accepted. And the car was mine. And I won't lie to you, that was my first mistake. So I've just pulled over for some roadside scran. And yeah, this car's a little bit worse than I thought it was. But I think all the shocks have completely blown. It's got a wheel bearing that's out. I've already spent 20 quid on fuel, which is annoying. I think I bought a piece of shit. So I drove straight to work for an MOT so I could see exactly what I was working with and exactly what I had to do. And an hour later, we got the results, and they were not good. Not good at all. What absolute pile of steaming shit have I bought here? And why didn't I go over the car properly first? But there's no point whining about my purchase. I had to make an action plan. I could either break the car for parts and make probably between £400 and £700, or I could fix the car up, give it a new lease of life, and then sell it on. And after a quick internal debate, I took this photo and I posted the car for breaking. An unfortunate but necessary evil. But the trouble is, I love Micras. This would have been my 4th Micra, and I really wanted to keep it on the road. So, stupidly, I took the post down, I ordered the parts I needed, and I got to work. So whilst the parts were on their way, I decided to crack on with the welding side of the job, which involved cutting out all the rotten sections, grinding everything back to bare metal, and getting rid of all the filler. And this was quite a long process. I've just moved this arm out to get better access to this sill. I don't think that's stable. I also had to take the wheel off to get access to the inner sill, and oh my god, what have I bought? So I started making a template of the new rear sill section, put that onto metal, and then I had to fold it all into shape. After a bit more grinding to make sure I had enough bare metal to work with, I clamped the new rear sill section to the car and got to work welding. Then I had to repeat the entire process for the inner side of the sill as well, which I didn't really get to film, but access was next to none and I was running low on time. Seam sealer all along all my welds. This side isn't nearly as pretty. I had to put another patch up here because it was more rotten than I thought. The thing is with this Micra as well, the list of things that's wrong with it is just seemingly endless. So I completely forgot that I've also got to fix this exhaust hanger. Maybe I can find another piece of exhaust hanger or a pole or something. Just let's see. We've got this old drop link. There we go. Definitely not the prettiest weld, but that is one exhaust hanger. I'm almost done. Just got this bit of welding to do, so I'll probably cut up to about here, and then I'm done for the welding. Right, I'm running out of time today, so let's get it. And that's it for the day. Not really as much as I'd like to get done, but it is what it is. So now that the car is structurally sound again, let me answer a few of the questions that I've been getting recently, which is how and where I find these cars. And that's where Marketplace Monitor steps in. Once you've set the criteria for an item that you want, if a listing that matches what you've said pops up, it lets you know. Meaning not only do you not miss any deal that you're after, but you're also the first person to message, helping you lock in the deal before somebody else does. For this Micra that I ended up buying, all I had to do was set up the search for Nissan Micra. It then asks about some more parameters. You can set your location, price, and then you're good to go. It also uses a smart filtering system, which removes spam and unwanted posts, keeping your feed clean so you're only seeing listings that actually matter. It helps you spot better opportunities sooner rather than later, which means you can maximize profits. But it's not just for cars. It doesn't matter if you want to buy and sell bikes, phones, electronics, sofas, kitchen appliances, or if you're after something really niche, you can actually create a custom search. But if you want to take it up a notch from the standard filter, it even has a keyword feature, meaning it will include or exclude certain keywords depending on what you want to search for. But seriously, don't just take my word for it. If you go over to the website, they've got loads of reviews and information. Additionally, if you sign up using my code, LOGBOY150, you get the first month at 50% off and the first 7 days for free. So now I've told you how I got the car, let's get back to fixing it. So a few days later, this box came in the post. So I wasted absolutely no time getting the car into the air and got cracking. First, I wanted to attack the rear wheel bearing, as these are pretty easy to do in Micras. But with that being said, I had to use a lot of lube, a pry bar, and many hits of the hammer to get this thing off. On a well-maintained car, these should slide off pretty easily. The whole unit was so seized and corroded that when I took the drum brake off, the actual bearing came off with it, and then half the bearing stayed on the car.
Oh, that came off nicely.
So I rummaged through my box of goodies to find the new wheel bearing. It did look a little bit dry, so I put some new grease on the bearings for good measure. You want to use quite thick and heavy grease, otherwise when the bearings get up to temperature, the grease will just melt out. So the new bearing goes on, done up with the impact gun, and then torqued to spec properly. And then after the bearing is done, the wheel was almost back on.
So I was just about to put the wheel on, but then I remembered that I also have to do this rear shock absorber.
So once again, I head over to my box of delights and I pull out the new shock. Do some trick shots, accidentally drop it, don't worry, it's fine. So I start by brushing off all the loose dirt and debris from the bolts, and then spraying a bit of lube on them just to make sure everything frees up nice and easy.
So it's a 17mm nut this side, don't know about this side, but let's get this off.
And then we hop into the boot to release the shock.
So one of the jobs that I need to do as well that isn't on the MOT. So to open the boot, we've got to go there. This looks like a 15, maybe 13.
And just like that, the shock was out. Attaching the new shock absorber was slightly more challenging. With the locking nuts and all the bushings being new, they were quite hard to get on. So I had to get some vice grips and a spanner to actually attach it properly. So getting the car back in the air to actually attach a shock absorber to the rear axle, this was literally as easy as aligning the bolt holes, getting a nut and bolt through, and then just tightening it up. As per usual, after using the impact gun, then you torque it to spec. Gun the wheel back on, and then that corner of the car is now done.
The airbox being loose was one of the advisories, and it was literally just that clip there that was loose. So just going to tighten that up and you should be good to go. And there we go. I can't shake that around now. Another job done.
And with all that being done, I put the car back on the ground and put it away for the night.
Here we are again the next day.
Though I'm super grateful for my boss for letting me use the shop, it is kind of annoying having to do it in small chunks, but it is what it is.
I also really don't have a lot of time today, so I'm just going to have to crack on.
So first I wanted to attack the lower arm. A few spanners, hammers, lube and an air gun makes light work of the situation. And a ball joint splitter. That does help.
This shouldn't be able to happen.
Here we go.
Just remembered that the other control arms are actually inside the car, so...
Reaching into the bag of delights once again to find my control arm and then getting the car back into the air again. And then once again employing the use of the air gun and a bit of red rubber grease to make sure all the bushings are seated properly and going easy. All the bushes being new are really stiff, which is great for safety and handling and performance of the car, but it means they're an absolute nightmare to get on. I attach the control arm to the chassis and then the other half of it to the front hub.
There we go. One lower arm done. Now I'm going to tackle these. Oh, and I've got to do that. God, this Micra list is never endless.
So I wanted to get the track rod off first, that way I can move the hub around freely.
That's what was the minor. There's nothing wrong with it, it's just a bit cracked.
Now I was really trying to save money on this flip, so instead of replacing the ball joint itself, I just replaced the dust cover, which is completely safe and completely legal.
Got my new boots, got to secure it on, and then that can go back in. And then I'm still not even halfway done.
And there was no retaining clip or no circlip on this track rod end, so I did just clean it all up and use super glue.
Now, while I've got this track rod off as well, I'm going to take the drive shaft out so I can do this CV boot. In review, I definitely should have done this when I had the lower control arm off. It would have been so much easier.
Stupidly, when I freed the hub from the strut, the entire assembly was then dangling by the brake hose, which if you don't know, really isn't great.
Right, so this was my tripod, but I need it to support the hub because at the moment, well, it was dangling off this brake hose, which is why I've got this supporting the lower arm and wheel hub now, because I don't want to damage the brake hose.
Popping off the clips for the CV joint was easy enough.
Oh yeah, God, that's greasy, which is a good thing.
I wasn't actually able to use the CV boot remover tool, which I'd like to, but Hammer makes light work of the situation of getting the outer CV joint itself off. That way I could remove the old boots and put the new ones on.
Yummy grease. I know this may sound silly, but with any grease residue, I just rub it on the underside of cars because it's free rust protection basically.
So then I had to get the new CV boot on.
Ready? Yeah. Yes.
And after that, I had to get the actual CV joint on itself, which was made easy with a little bit of grease and a few love taps from the hammer. And the final step was to secure the boot with the retaining clip.
There we go. A bit greasy, but I was ready to put back together. My phone is low on battery and I'm low on time, so done for the day.
Now the next day was the big day, the MOT.
Right, here we go, it's the next day. Couple good luck revs.
Which after a few good luck revs, passed with flying colours.
So we're in the first drive after the MOT, and immediately something I've noticed is the wheel bearing I changed isn't the only wheel bearing that's on its way out, which is really annoying because I really needed everything to go well because the profit margin in this flip is going to be.
As I was driving home though, I did make the decision to sell the car as is. I'd spent too much time and too much money on it, and I just needed to get it gone, even if that meant taking a hit, selling it slightly less than what I hoped to get for it. So after getting it back and giving it a good wash both inside and outside, there was one more final job before it hit the market. Yep, that was right. The boot handle, that needed to be fixed. I was selling the car for cheap anyway, so it got the cheap option. I whipped out the silicone. Well, it wasn't silicone, it was like some sort of Gorilla Glue. I can't really remember the brand, but it doesn't matter. It worked. And after all that was done, it was finally ready for the market. I put it up on Facebook Marketplace, starting with the usual walk around video, followed by plenty of photos, both exterior and interior. Scrolling down after that, I've given it a chunky description, boasting all of its selling points with extra information underneath. So usually when you post on Facebook Marketplace, you do get your fair share of time wasters. So I had one bloke from Zimbabwe message me, I had another bloke message me from up north. Why these people are asking when it literally tells you on the advert where the car is. Just beyond me. But anyway, the next day this bloke pops up called Dean. I thought it was going to be another time waster, but he wasn't messing around. He literally wanted to view the car that evening, and a few hours later, he came to check it out. So after a quick back and forth, a few questions and a test drive, we eventually shook hands at £725. So the cost breakdown. The car itself cost me £200, with the new car parts costing me 90, fuel cost me 20, tax and insurance set me back 70 quid, the welding and the materials used was £20, and the MOT was 50. That brings the total cost up to 450 quid. And with it selling for 725, I made a profit of £275. Definitely not my best flip, but if you've got any questions, let me know in the comments. I reply to all of them. And if you've enjoyed this one, I've got loads of other videos on my channel, so feel free to check them out, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.